Text 41. Brajishuna vimanena kamagena mahiyasa vaimanikan atyacheta charallokanyatanilaha. He traveled in that way through the various planets as the air passes uncontrolled in every direction. Coursing through the air in that great and splendid aerial mansion which could fly at his will, he surpassed even the demigods. Purport. The planets occupied by the demigods are restricted by their own orbits, but Kardama Muni, by his yogic power, could travel all over the different directions of the universe without restriction. The living entities who are within the universe are called conditioned souls. That is, they are not free to move everywhere. We are inhabitants of this earthly globe. We cannot freely move to other planets. In the modern age, man is trying to go to other planets, but so far he has been unsuccessful. It is not possible to travel to any other planets because by the laws of nature, even demigods cannot move from one planet to another. But Kardama Muni, by his yogic power, could surpass the strength of the demigods and travel in space in all directions. The comparison here is very suitable. The words yatha anilaha indicate that as the air is free to move anywhere without restriction, so Kardama Muni unrestrictedly travelled in all directions of the universe. So we see here how Kardama Muni and Devahuti travelled in the aerial mansion, first to Mount Meru, the pleasure valleys of Mount Meru, and now it is described here that so many different gardens also they visited. Which even the demigods can't do. So, even the demigods also are limited by their own respective planetary laws, where they cannot simply go from one planet to another planet. Every living entity, as Prabhupada says here, is conditioned. Every conditioned living entity, his movement is restricted. The living entities in the earth, their movement is restricted. Their ability to move around is restricted. Similarly, the movement of the demigods also is restricted. Higher enjoyment, but there is a restriction. It's just simply those restrictions are at another scale, that is all. In other words, by hearing these wonderful descriptions in Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand this entire universe is full of variegated existences and planetary systems where there are all life. So freely it is described here that how Kardama Muni and Devahuti's aerial mansion travelled freely like air was moving. At his will, the aerial mansion went into all these places. They are supposed to be very high, can call it pleasure valleys, very high pleasure-inducing situations, environments, these gardens. So there Kardama Muni satisfied Devahuti. So you can imagine, even as a yogi, Kardama Muni, but he was a devotee of the Lord. Of all the yogis, one who is always absorbed in me is the greatest yogi, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Yoginam api sarvesham mat gatin antaratmana. So Kardama Muni fitted that description. He was a yogi also and he was a devotee also. So it's not even ordinary powers of any regular non-devotee yogi which Kardama Muni was enjoying. And from these descriptions we see that how much little we know about this material world itself. Very little we know about this material world. That is simply because our perception has become very gross. So much so that we see only a layer of the existence. Even when we look at the stars, the moon, everything in the night, we see them. We also see how vast the universe is. We look in the night in the sky, you see how vast it is. And we see what a small dot is our planet. The vast ocean of this material universe itself, even according to the scientists, even less than 100 years back, the modern science actually had no idea of how big the universe was. It all happened after, powerful telescopes, Hubble telescope, these were all made. Then only they realized. And it was simply shocking for the scientists, because till then whatever they knew was what their naked eyes or some small telescope or something which showed them. That's all. But when they combined it with new physics, the new mathematical models of the universe and physics and discoveries in light, nature of light, they were shocked to discover that our solar system is part of a galaxy called Milky Way galaxy. And Milky Way galaxy has got billions of stars, like sun. And in that one sun is ours. Many, many suns are bigger than our sun. Our sun is a very small sun. All that billions of solar systems. Billions. And they became one galaxy. So they thought, okay, now we are understanding our universe. We are part of the Milky Way galaxy. Then their knowledge expanded. It is a fact. Their knowledge expanded. And they found out that Milky Way galaxy is a very small galaxy. It is one of the galaxies in billions of galaxies. This is today's modern science cosmology's perception of the universe. And as far as they are concerned, is there a boundary for the universe? They say, we don't know. You can only mathematically say. So mathematically they calculate something. What could be what those mathematics means, they do not understand. So the material universe, to our naked gross eyes itself, is so incomprehensible. Look at the grandeur of God's creation. And at least after understanding all these things, an intelligent man will realize that what is this planet insignificant. And in the significant planet, we are all insignificant beings. If you see the life on this earth, nobody thinks of the stars, nobody thinks of all these things. Nobody thinks of the bigger universe. Just like when somebody is in Bangalore, you tell him, no, you do not know how the world is. You should know. You should come to know the world in all its dimensions. You see there is this country, that country, then there is America, then earth is a globe, then you are a universal citizen, you are a global citizen. This is knowledge. Don't be just sitting in your village, they will say. Then you say you are ignorant. You do not know what is happening. But when you compare with these statements, it's just like that statement we make about somebody who doesn't cross his village. In the same way, present human population, in spite of all their advancement in science, they are just like these villagers. They do not know. So, there are different layers of existence which can be seen only by different development of our finer consciousness, then only you can. It is not that by physical travel you go to these gardens. It's not. There are other dimensions. By fine consciousness, the mystic power is what? Mystic power of Kardama Muni could summon those powers for himself so that he could enter these gardens. He could cross over all the heavenly planets, go to these gardens. So to think that the existence is gross existence, that is foolishness. Like Prabhupada says, moon. Okay, physically going to moon is different and going to the moon's real civilization there is different. It is in another plane. So these, of course, Krishna says the entire material world is Panchabhuta and 5 gross elements and 3 subtle elements. But when combined together, there are so many different things that we don't see with our gross eyes. Even this mind we don't see with the gross eyes. Intelligence we don't see with gross eyes. Our different egos, social egos, we don't see with our gross eyes, but we can feel them. So all over the existence, there are multiple layers of truth, and according to how much our senses are developed, we can see the universe to that extent. That is the reason why we cannot understand where is Mount Meru. We cannot understand where is this, why sometimes the world is called Goal, that means ball. Then it's called Dvipa, islands. So these are all things that, we cannot comprehend because we are stuck in the gross world. Now come to the gross world itself. Gross matter itself is so complicated. The discoveries of the gross world itself is so bewildering. And the nature of the gross world itself is so beautiful in terms of what the scientists have discovered till today. Just see what the scientists have discovered today. The gross world, the atomic structure, the nature of light, nature of time, all these things that the modern last 100 years, what the science has discovered itself is mind-boggling. They don't accept mind and all those things, they don't accept. But they only accept their Their domain of investigation is only Panchabhuta. And that Panchabhuta, so many things have been discovered, and you can see that is also a kind of a mystic power. Anybody who does any tapasya, then they get that mystic power. So modern world, as far as gross world is concerned, there are a lot of mystic powers. And if you see now, there are so many predictions what the world will be in the next 50 years, next 20 years, 25 years, what technology will be. It's mind-boggling. Even the gross material world. None of these things we knew. None of these things this world knew. They are discovering. If we are told about relativity of time, say 100 years before 1920s, if you are told about relativity of time, people would have laughed at you. If you are told that Brahma's time is different, our time is different, Devata's time is different, our time is different, scale is different, if you tell, they will laugh. What is all the stories that you have in your... But now, modern science has discovered relativity of time. According to your frame of reference, the speed in which your relative speed in which your planet is moving, the time will run slow. These are no longer theories, these are all proved. They set an atomic clock and they sent an airplane round the globe 2 times. And they kept a clock inside the plane also. Both were set at 0 time. And the airplane went twice around the globe and came back. And found that the clock in the airplane was little slower than the clock which was stationary. Time. Everybody thought time is not a thing. Time is not a thing. Time is only in the mind. But our Shastras always told Kala is an energy. Is energy outside. Time is an energy. So after 1920s, the world started accepting time is an ontological reality. Ontological reality means an external reality. It is not simply something in your mind. Otherwise, people used to think that, okay, time is something you have created in your mind to understand motion. Motion is real. There is some space is real. Motion is real. But time is something that you create. But no. Suddenly, the physics found out that time, T, in our ordinary equations, they are all appear to be one value because the speeds that we are dealing with are normal day-to-day speeds. If you go to the atomic world, the speeds are closer to light, you see time variation is there. Time is relative. The same equations. Only if they vary the time according to that, they can understand the phenomena. So it was a very shocking thing for the world to discover through Einstein's theory of relativity that time is an ontological reality. One of the foundational discoveries of the 20th century is about time. And then about space, about gravity, every perception has changed now. The scientists could never find out what is it that is pulling gravity. When you keep an electric field, they knew. If I put a magnet, then they can trace, there is a lines of field. The field is pulling the magnet. Okay, so there is a magnetic force, say. But scientists tried and tried. What is between two bodies gravitational attraction? What is there in between that is connecting them and pulling? It was a mystery for years and years. Suddenly the perception changed. There is nothing between them. Then why two bodies are getting attracted to each other? That is because it is a nature of the space there. Space is curved in different ways, so therefore they are feeling that pull. It is nothing to do with, even though finally the behavior is, dependent upon the object to object, the size of the object and divided by r squared, all those things. But actually the reason why it is not like a magnetic field, there is a gravitational field, is all gone. Gravity is today explained in terms of curvature in space. That is gravity. Just like you hold a rubber sheet and you put an object in the center, how the rubber sheet will curve. So in the same way, they say that space is curved, therefore the pull is there. It's just like you say, we are thinking that I am pulled towards the earth. We tend to think like that. I am pulled towards the earth in terms of force. There is a force pulling me. But actually now the science thinks, no, you are not pulled towards the earth. You are pushed by space down. There is nothing pulling you. You are pushed by the space down. So at least today, after seeing these wonderful discoveries, revolutionary discoveries in modern science, it is not at all difficult for us to understand and believe in all these wonderful things that is being described here. Even grossly. No doubt all these descriptions are permutation combination of gross and subtle world together spoken. Yogic powers means mostly it is subtle. The five Panchabhuta itself is creating so many different kinds of, and it will not be, and the way in which our technology, everything is progressing, we'll be shocked. Within our lifespan, we will see unbelievable things happening, which we have seen over the past few years. We have seen how when I was in IIT, I was studying. You have to book a trunk call and to wait there to speak to my parents. Then emergency trunk call is there, grand trunk call. This extra you have to pay, and you have to go and stand near the booth. Because suddenly exchange will call, your number, yes, you are connecting. So that was in our own lifetime. And now every villager is having a mobile. So we are yet to see so many things. And especially, and it's very rapidly growing. As far as science fiction is concerned, from whatever science has found out, discovered the laws, it's far-fetched things they speak about. In quantum mechanics, they have found so many things. If you want to go to New York, there will be one, there's no flight and all, there's no airplanes and all. There are no airplanes and all. Teletransporting, they say. There will be a cabin like this. You buy your ticket, go inside there. You'll do some things. Suddenly, you're disappeared from there. And there in another cabin, you will appear. And you walk out. Now, we tend to think that they made this same Panchabhuta disappear from here, moved it over to that spot. No, 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 no. It is not that. All the atoms, configuration, elements, everything ultimately is reduced to electron, proton, neutron, these configurations. These configurations are there, which creates this body. Another set of all those things are made there, that's all. And you walk out. That means it's not that. Even now we are saying the body is constantly changing. This body is no substance. The body has no substance. It will not be surprising. Maybe in 25 years we will see these things happening. So therefore, all these things, fortunately now, with the modern inventions and advancement in physics, even if you tell the physicists today, these are all, they'll say, I won't say it's not possible. They'll say, I cannot say it is not possible. But 100 years back, 150 years back, 100 years back, if you were told by 1900s, you were told, myth, impossible, mad people you are. Some poet has written all these things. His imagination, they'll say. But here, why poet should, you can, so many gardens, names are given. This is very important. Just see. This is common sense. Vaishrambaka, Surasena, Nandana, Pushpabhadraka, Chaityaratya, Manasarovara Lake. So there are so many specific spots in this universe where you can go and enjoy. Any questions?
Hare
Huh? How the soul will go there? Soul has no distance at all. Soul actually has no limitations of distance at all. The soul's limitation of distance is a distance limitation created by its own, by the body. Soul itself has no distance. Soul instance is not move in material dimension. That is why we say we are in bodily concept of life. When we say we are bodily concept of life, that is the way we are in this body. We are in this body through concept of life. Not physically connected in this body. Through ignorance we are connected. Ignorance is a type of Shakti. Just like knowledge is a kind of Shakti, ignorance is another Shakti. So that through ignorance we are connected into this body. How in the dream we go out? Of course, modern science will say that you are not going out. Your brain is creating some images. But that's not what our Shastra says. You go out. There are subtle dimensions. You go out. When you go out, your connection is maintained from here. We don't know these things. In the dream, it's not necessary that you only see things which you have ever seen in your life. You combine things, no doubt, but also you can see things which are, you go into new areas. Whatever that laws of nature dictates, your desire, your past karma, your this thing, why this dream itself, nobody understands. Then when you close your eyes, you forget this world. Isn't that an amazing thing? You know, when you close your eyes, you've forgotten this world. Another world. Who has found out this, what it is? Means with respect to soul, what happens to the soul? So whether that is spiritually possible or not is a different matter. Maybe it requires mysticism also. You have to buy a ticket. Also you have to do some mystic processes which will qualify to fly like that. But ideally they found out it is possible. And it is simultaneous. It is not that there is any time taken. Tuck, 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 punch, you are here, simultaneous. That means you are just replaced here. Scientists, physicists are going crazy with the possibilities. The science fiction is going crazy with possibilities, with what they have found out. Whether they are really, it is possible or not, in practicality, we do not know. See, just like we say, test tube babies. At that time, if just about, okay, you can fertilize a ovum and a sperm in a test tube. Then you would ask the question, what about the sperm? What about the soul? Yeah, it's happening. Soul also will, just like soul instead of in the womb, in the test tube it will go. That is all. Fertilization is happening in the test tube and then it is placed inside the womb. What is the difference between womb and the test tube? Womb is also a test tube only, no? Any other question? Mike, yeah. You had a question? You have.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Like we have some people who can motivate and do kind of mental healing, and they can convince in a mental platform. They can convince and move the audience even. Like Mayavadis, we have so many gurus who can move the audience. Even they will be convinced about the facts. So is it also a kind of mystic power which they have achieved out of tapasya?
Every power which you cannot understand normally, it is all coming out of karma, mystic power. Becoming rich man is also a mystic power only. Because you have to, it's a different kind. One is one kind of karma, the other is another kind of tapasya. Both, unless you earn, you don't get anything. And there are ways of earning these things. That we should understand this, simply thinking that how people like Ravana, people like Hiranyakashipu, they were so powerful materially. So powerful. Their power surpassed the power of the demigods. The super soul does not interfere with what you do in this world. I have given you the laws of nature. I have given you freedom to act. You want to become Hiranyakashipu, you can become Hiranyakashipu. You want to become a pure devotee, you can become a pure devotee. This is the nature of we have to understand nature of the material world. That's why in the material world, it's you as you sow, so you reap. Everything happens. Some people ask, then why God is watching or what? Yeah, Krishna says, I don't participate in pious or sinful activities of the devotees. I don't participate. It is encoded within the material law what they will get, what they will not get. Neither I am the giver of the result of pious deeds or their sinful reactions. I am aloof. It's all included. It's all within the material world. That is why devotees also don't want to break the law. They want to go through the laws of nature. Krishna wants, he can make exemptions. Anytime he can make exemption because he is the owner of everything. But even that, like sometimes they say Krishna is unfair, is more inclined towards devotees. There is no fairness towards all living entities. That also is, why that happens is because it is encoded within the material laws of karma that if you are God conscious, it is a very high level of piety, pious deed. Shiva was worshipped by Ravana, by Hiranyakashipu, the God. They surrendered and worshipped. So they got so many powers. So there are motivational speakers. What is all these chutku things? Then you may wonder, with chutku thing, why I am not able to do? I am a devotee for Krishna, why I am not able to do? Yeah, you have to serve the Lord with your yantra. You have to serve the Lord with the gathering all the pious strength that you have. And that is the reason when you chant Hare Krishna properly, you will automatically get a lot of. The nectar of devotion says, Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not only transcendental, but it is also most pious activity in existence. That means we are simultaneously, materially also we are becoming very, very rich. If you have desires, then you can immediately, next life, like Karnamune, you can roam around. We are chanting and accumulating so many pious demigods and all these things. Provided you want to go off from Krishna. Otherwise, Krishna is already teaching. By the time you, not only you chant, when you chant Hare Krishna, you are also reading Prabhupada's book. You come to understand there is no value for all these things. I have to go back to Godhead. I have to give up this material body. Go to get my eternal body and serve the Lord. That is a higher taste. There was a question here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, you had mentioned how time is a reality, and you also mentioned, answering his question, that the soul has no limits. It's only limited by the bodily concept of life. So I was just thinking, in that case, then is time travel possible then? Something like time travel. Time travel, because it's been a fantasy.
Yes.
And so if the soul is not limited, and if time is a reality, can someone travel back in time? Let's say
all our yogis, they are called Trikalagnis.
No, like say now we are in 2017, and if I key in a year, say 1992, 93, I can go back there and meet a younger version of yourself or even a younger version of me. Is it a physically possible thing?
See, as of now, it is not permitted by law of karma. We have not seen in our Puranas also going back like that. Unless there may be, I am not aware of. But these are all not impossible. Scientists are completely bewildered by this one thing. If time is an ontological reality, why time is always flowing in the positive direction? This is another big question in physics. Anything they have found out positive, they have found out there has to be a negative. In reality, you find it. But here, why is it time is always moving forward? Why is it not moving backwards also? Time is equal to 0 plus time. So everywhere we see in all phenomena, time is going forward. And they explain that it's because the Big Bang that happened is throwing out from the Big Bang, the universe is expanding. Explosion is continuing, it is expanding. Therefore, that ontological T is positive. After it goes and expands, after some time, they say that it will, after billions of years, calculation, they go on, that calculation goes on. It will collapse into itself, come back. This also, we also know, Brahmandas, they come from nothing. And then when it goes into Mahavishnu's body, it also disappears into his body. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जाए, जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जाए.